Imagine you're a multi-platinum, multi-millionaire rapper waking up on a bright and sunny day in Atlanta, Georgia. You're watching the morning news, rolling an overstuffed backwoods, counting your oversized money roll to make sure it's the same amount that you left off on. And the first thing that you see when you turn on the TV is a police chief damn near naming you in crash out activity that resulted in the death of two 13-year-old boys.
Overall theme in this case is grown men playing gangster. Subsequent days, we saw homicides and shootings, and ultimately the deaths of two children as a result of his cowardly actions, and you know who you are.
Not only did he say it was your fault, but he said that you were a coward for the whole situation. And finally, after his long-winded press conference being held in your area of Oakland City, he concludes that whoever the mystery rapper who is directly linked to this saddening loss of life will receive the full force of the law.
And I tell you that this team will work relentlessly to hold you and the persons that you are affiliated with responsible for those actions.
It's no secret that the Atlanta Police Department and city government are completely sick and tired of rappers and the violence they instigate. But this press conference marked a new level of escalation with a verbal warning that the police are actively working to take you down. It's definitely not looking good for Dominic Jones, aka Atlanta superstar rapper Lil Baby, because at this moment it's looking like the mystery rapper is most likely him. A violent beef that enveloped the west end of Atlanta.
Police are searching for the person who shot and killed two teenagers and wounded a third. In northwest Atlanta tonight, police say the gunfire erupted during the shooting of a music video
that claimed the lives of 4 people and injured many more might just take the rapper off the streets for good. Maybe this is why Lil Baby decided to publicly stop repping the 4pf name, because they were getting tied into a high-profile beef with a subset of Goodfellas who go by OMF or Glizzy Gang. This secret war has resulted in online self-snitching taunts, rising rappers getting gunned down, kingpins calling hits from prison like a Netflix series, and many innocent people caught in the crossfire of a situation that they weren't even a part of. So today, we gotta talk about the wild beef that got the city of Atlanta blaming Lil Baby for the rising murder rate in the west side. But before we do, gang, I'm gonna need you to like, comment, subscribe. We're on the road to 100k subs. Make sure you hit that notification bell and hit that link in the description and go cop the merch and support the channel, man. So let's get into this right now with chapter 1, War on the West Side. Ever since the highly publicized indictments of YSL, it seems like many rappers are trying to do things the right way and avoid the street activity to avoid getting caught in another RICO. Unfortunately for 4pf, it seems that it might be too little too late. You know, even though Lil Baby recently dropped the name of 4pf and is now going by CBFW, police aren't just like, oh yeah, he changed the name, he must be innocent. Nah, bruh. They coming for bruh. And it seems like they're taking anyone and everyone they need off the streets in order to accomplish their goal. While you might see two rival gangs within an impoverished section of the city at odds, the crazy thing, it wasn't always like that. At one point, both of these groups were cool, or just cordial, or just didn't really mess with each other, but many misunderstandings and retaliation murders later, it seems like these groups are hell-bent on destroying each other or destroying their communities. However, to understand how things got to this point, we gotta go back to the jump to fully understand how two groups could come to odds like this. So let's get into it with chapter 1. If you're familiar with Lil Baby's music, you've definitely seen him and others around him refer to themselves as 4pf in the past. Through label names or through IG pictures where members saw it before, they've gained notoriety in the city. 4pf, aka 4 Pockets Full, or Bank First Play Later as the OGs know it, is a rolling 60s affiliated gang based out of the Oakland City area of Atlanta's West End. Ever since their name started getting some traction, this group was always just known as hustlers and money getters by any means. While they weren't soft or anything, they sort of personified their top member Lil Baby and being laid back hustlers that were more concerned about getting money than beefing. You see, a young Dominic Jones coming out of the slums of Atlanta had little options to come up, so he became an avid hustler in dice games and other types of activities a street entrepreneur would tap into, you know, when they need to get money. And like I said, for the longest time, they were really more concerned about getting money, while many groups in Atlanta were fighting over all types of different reasons in the late 2010s. Lil Baby eventually met up with Gunna, who taught him how to rap, and he started using his hustle as a means to push the music. However, as Lil Baby began to rise on the charts, it seemed like other areas within the West End were taking notice and not really feeling the vibes. On the other side of this beef, we got a gang subset called Glizzy Gang, aka OMF, a younger group of Goodfella associated members who were really more into being on some crazy crash out shit. Based out of the close by area of Northwest Atlanta, they sort of switch up their alliance with 4pf over a specific incident that has resulted in multiple people on both sides getting murked. You see, most Goodfella associated gangs don't really have an issue with 4pf like that. And like I said, at one point, 4pf and Glizzy gang were not really beefing like that. But a shooting in 2021 would change all that and put all their operations in jeopardy. A shooting which we'll get into right now in chapter 2, Paper Trail of Murders. When it comes to escalated gang wars, there's often not a discernible public reason as to why they have an issue, but sometimes you can figure out why by following the blood. It seems that the violence started on the night of August 15th, 2022, when alleged Glizzy gang associate Marcus Holland was found shot to death at the age of 19. From that point on, it was all smoke. And it seems like the next shocking incident will be seen as retaliation than an ambush-style shooting after a show right outside of Atlanta. Lil Mid was an upcoming rapper from the 4pf side of Oakland City who was just an 18-year-old kid trying to navigate the streets in the music industry after graduating high school. While being associated with 4pf came with a perks of fame and opportunity, it also came with people who were looking to end you just out of association. It seems like on the night of April 27, 2022, the 4pf caught up to Lil Mid in the worst way possible. On that night, 4pf affiliate Cold Hearted Savage was booked to do a show at the LaGrange area club called Club True. He brought Lil Mid, whose real name was Nasir Beverly Calvin, on to perform with them and soak in the music industry. As the show wind down, Lil Mid and his people left the club in several vehicles to make their way back to Atlanta, according to investigators. As the group was traveling on Lafayette Parkway, someone in an unknown vehicle fired into Beverly Calvin's vehicle, authorities said. The teen was then shot in the head, police said, and 4 other people were left in the vehicle to pick up the pieces. They survived and then decided to drive a full speed hour to Grady Hospital, almost an hour away, and drop off his body at the ER. Unfortunately though, he would die from his injuries and his family was left to pick up the pieces. Baby obviously did not take this situation lightly because he would go on and post Lil Mid in remembrance for being so young and trying to get this money just like how he remembered he was. Fast forward 2 years later, and a music video gone wrong will result in over 10 people either getting shot, losing their freedom, or dying, which we're gonna get into now in chapter 3. Music video shooting. 2 years after the death of Lil Mid, even after attempting to rebrand the 4pf name, Lil Baby was still not over the death of his younger member. So he then took it upon himself to film a music video. I'm talking a full production in a whole area known to be the headquarters of OMF. If you've been following Lil Baby, you most definitely saw the crazy incident that went on May 14th, 2024. This man Lil Baby took it upon himself to endanger his own life, his gang lives, and his production team's lives just to prove a point that only him and his ops would even know. Bro decided to shoot a music video at a corner store in the Dixie Court area with a fleet of black trucks and Teslas out in broad daylight. Bro, the video was crazy. It wasn't no run and gun. Bro was trying to issue a statement, hiring a whole production team to pull up to the trenches with him. Things were going good at the jump, but many rival members were getting alerted by commotion by unsuspected civilians posting Lil Baby as he was around set. This would obviously not be taken lightly because a mere 15 minutes after they started shooting, all panic would ensue with a surprise shooting that would go down, almost striking Lil Baby.
Yeah, that's right. This music video is being shot right down this street. Now, there were a lot of cars and people, many part of the production team, others just watching when those shots were fired. Police are calling this an isolated and targeted incident.
At approximately 4:50 p.m., police would be called near a commercial strip in the area of Bernabina Street in Northwest Atlanta. A 24-year-old man was shot in the arm and a 27-year-old man was shot in the back. They were both rushed to a nearby hospital for treatment and thankfully they were okay. But those who would be the next victims in this ongoing saga just hours later would not be lucky. So we're going to get into that in chapter 4, the aftermath, where it all goes downhill. Directly following this shooting, police said in their press conference that 4pf were retaliating on their ops, and they believed that Lil Baby was the driving force behind all that. You see, he has the money, connections, and power, and they said that he's the top head member. They believe that he's a full crash out, and just by the fact that people had personally tried to end him in broad daylight, he was not taking that lightly. That's where police said that the next victim in the saga would be an OMF member who was taken out in retaliation.
Breaking news happening this morning. Police in Southwest Atlanta are investigating an overnight homicide. It happened on Peyton Place Southwest, which is not too far from the Hamilton MARTA station. Police tell Fox 5 Crews they found a man in his 20s shot and killed inside an apartment there.
On June 29, 2024, Trevante Turner, an alleged member of OMF, would be posted up in an apartment at 9 Peyton Place Southwest. Apparently at 3 a.m., officers were alerted to panicking neighbors calling about gunshots in an apartment. When police arrived, they found Trevante Turner dead and still in the apartment with little to no leads. While the police were combing through evidence evidence to connect the dots, it seemed like the top member of GF, Quantaya Midnight Sanders, who was the blood cousin of Trevante Turner, already knew who was responsible. According to police, Midnight, as he was named, used a contraband cell phone to call a hit on anyone from 4pf, with Lil Baby being a top target, along with his right-hand man Jay Shot. Bro really thought that he could call hits on people from outside, bro, and thought that he would get away with it. I really feel like they had to take this activity off the streets for everyone's safety because it was getting kind of crazy. Midnight sent a team of shooters into the Oakland City area to take out whoever they could. Unfortunately, the people killed were not 4pf members, but were just 13-year-old kids celebrating their birthday at midnight.
The police are searching for the person who shot and killed 2 teenagers and wounded a third. It happened just after midnight on Spark Street in southwest Atlanta.
Investigators say 13-year-olds Jacody Davis and Lamont Freeman were killed at a shooting off Spark Street early Tuesday morning.
On July 22nd, 2024, at around 12:40 a.m., police responded to a call from an apartment complex on Spark Street Southwest, near Peoples Street Southwest in the Oakland City neighborhood. Spark Street was an area that was known to be frequented by Jay Shot, and the specific area that police will later find out was targeted by GF top member Midnight. Upon arrival, officers found one 13-year-old boy dead at the scene. The 13-year-old and 11-year-old were rushed to the hospital, where the second 13-year-old succumbed to his injuries. The 11-year-old was stable and ended up surviving after being shot in the foot. At the time of the shooting, it was seen as a tragic case of senseless violence with no motive. But fast forward to this year, and the police have issued a timeline of events that directly ties the shooting to not only Lil Baby, but all the gang violence on the west end of Atlanta. It seems that the homicide division within the West took the string of violence serious and was able to use the help of informants and other evidence to implicate a whole range of people. In August 21st, police recovered the stolen white Nissan Maxima used in the shooting of the Davis brothers at a parking deck on Drew Drive Northwest. Further forensic analysis linked shell casings found at the scene to previous gang-related shootings across the city, bro. They were using the same gun and left it in the whip and left all the evidence there. Investigators also intercepted phone conversations between gang members discussing the incident and the efforts to cover their involvement with the boy's death. Richard R.J. Hollis, a known OMF associate, was overheard instructing associates to destroy evidence, including a pair of shoes and social media accounts. Additionally, a confidential informant provided information from a third party implicating Decathlon Jamin Mobley in the shooting. The informant told police they had learned through a relative that Jamin really wanted Lil Baby, but it was hard to touch him. It said he was hoping to catch another individual associated with 4pf. The informant claimed that Mobley was unaware that the victims were children at the shooting because they were just sitting up on a porch in the area. The investigation also revealed that Sanders repeatedly told his girlfriend about seeking revenge against Lil Baby and his plan to extort him for $5 million upon his release from prison. Well, fast forward to 2025 and it seems like they're all going down. Man, it seems like this is another situation like the Lil Durk situation where these dudes straight up have millions of dollars at their disposal and still find it difficult to not do the street stuff. You know, it's not even like drug dealing and stuff like that. Like, they're talking about people going out and shooting people on your behalf, calling hits, and it seems like people are just going to get taken down because the cops already know all this information, and I'm sure they know a lot more. In the press conference, they weren't even issuing that it was 4pf, the game, because they wanted to catch them by surprise. But honestly, if they had been paying attention and they saw this, they would have definitely knew that they were talking about them. Let's hope that Lil Baby learned from Lil Durk's mistakes and maybe boarded a jet and going to Europe or something right now, because it's definitely not looking good. They're definitely trying to take bro out, but it's no one's fault but his own. You know, the police said that it was his fault trying to set up a whole video shoot in the ops neighborhood just to prove a point and literally risk all types of people's lives just because you're trying to prove a point. Like, that's not even thinking straight. You know, you have to be on drugs to think that that shit even makes sense. It's honestly crazy. But man, let me know in the comments what y'all think, because I saw a lot of people saying that it's the police's fault. You know, they're the ones supposed to protect the neighborhood. But oftentimes the police don't really know what's happening. You know, they're reacting to this stuff. They don't really know that so-and-so is about to go shoot so-and-so and are able to stop it in advance, like the show 24 or something, bro. Like, this is all stuff that happens, and then they have to react to it, and then they react with the evidence that goes on. And unfortunately, it looks like that evidence has implicated a lot of people, so we're going to keep you posted, man. But hey, let me know in the comments what y'all think about this.